Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Uber Epic Outdoors. Today, I wanted to go over a quick little video for you guys on how I skin out a deer head and get it prepped up and ready to go for a European mount. So I thought I'd throw this short little video for you guys to show you the technique and ideas that I have for skinning out a deer head. You guys stay tuned, get this process underway, show you guys how I skin out a deer head. Now guys, the first step to this process is you're gonna need some sharp knives. Basically this Havlon makes one heck of a good knife, especially if you get one that has a flay blade on it. Like I said before, I'm not sponsored by any of the tools that I show you guys. It's just tools that I love using that work very well for me. This is just a Havlon flay knife. It's awesome for skinning fish, and it also is a good tool for skinning out deer heads. Now over here I just have a basic flay knife, probably 10-12 inch flay knife, and this is made by Elk Ridge. Had this flay knife for a long time. As long as you keep these tools nice and sharp, they are awesome for jobs that you guys need to do, especially one like this. You shoot a deer, your neighbor brings you over a deer or would like a European mount, but they don't know how to skin it out, and you don't want to pay a bunch of money for somebody to skin this deer head out or prep it and get it ready for a nice European mount. Now, when starting off with one of these deer heads, first thing that I like to do is watch for ticks first off before we even start. As you can see here, there's some ticks climbing around on this deer head. Guys, make sure that you're safe when you're handling these deer heads. A lot of these ticks will travel up to the head part once the deer is cold for a couple days, and you'll even see ticks climbing up the antlers. So just make sure when you do this, guys, that you don't get ticks on you. You definitely don't want them little buggers on you, especially a lot of them carrying Lyme's disease these days. So, well, we'll get this started here. First thing I like to do is I'll make a cut down the top of the head, down about above the eyes. I'll just make one slice, and then after I get that slice opened up, I'll come back behind the horns and right in front of the ears, and then I'll make another slice, just like you're making a cross, or almost like an X in a way. Get this X started here. We'll take the knife down. Don't press extremely hard, that way you're cutting into the skull plate, but you just want to do it just enough to start splitting the hair open. As you can see here, it's working out pretty nice with this sharp Havlon. And you just want to follow. All you guys are going to do is want to take this top part of the skin off where the hair is connected. And I'll come across here and I'll make my X across the back of the horns here. Once you guys cut that, you'll see it'll start separating like that. Looks pretty good here. And you just want to keep cutting and following that. You might have to move around a little bit to get the knife to sit where you want. Just make these X cuts here, and you can see how it just starts opening up. Just like that. Looking really good. Now, once you have all these slices done and everything's pretty much opened up back to the base of the horns on here, you can come down then the straight slice that you made and stopped at the eyes. you can go ahead and continue it the rest of the way. Just follow the dark streak of his nose down. And once you get it down there to the top of his nose, you can come back up here and right at the base front edge of the horns, I'll slice her across. This then will allow you to fold these over above the eyes so you can follow along the eye socket then. So just cut these across right in front of the base of the horns and start opening that all up. See how that overlaps right above the eye sockets, just like that on that side. Just like that. Perfect. And you got these little flaps here where you made your X, and you got this one coming across that'll expose above the eyes, and then you just follow along the skull. See how that just falls right along, coming down through. It'll take you right to the top of your nose mark where you did, and you can see right there's your skull. All you're doing is taking this top skin off, and then you'll just come over here to the eye sockets where the eye sockets, and you just keep following it. Follow it the whole way down, cut actually through the nose, and just keep following along that skull. And you'll do the other side just like I showed you here, following along. Now, once you follow this edge of the nose of the skull down at an angle, once you get down here so far, you're going to get to the top of the teeth line. Same on both sides. You'll get to the top of the teeth line where it'll actually, this whole piece will separate here. And same way with on this side, once you get down to the bottom teeth. And then once I get down there so far behind the eye socket and just follow that down to the top layer of teeth, I'll then come back up and I'll follow, if you guys can see this here where my finger is, this will be the top of the eye socket. Same way on both sides. You just pull this piece and just fall right on the front side of this bone right here. And all you do is just follow along, just like you did with the skull. You can just follow that eye socket. Up here where you made your top cut across the base of the horns, you'll just follow that eye socket until eventually you'll see that the eye will be exposed. Right there, just like that. There, your whole eye, right around the socket here, and now your eye's exposed. Now, once you have it to the bottom of the jaw, and you're starting to wrap underneath the jaw plate here, and you have this whole way followed up to the nose, make sure that you're careful up here at the tip of your nose. It's a little bit more fragile up here with these bones that come across the top. All you want to do is just keep following it out here across the top where the nose is. See how that just right underneath the jaw, and all that just pops right off. And now you're exposed to the bottom side of the jaw. And once I do the other side, just like this, I'll flip this over and start working on the bottom. Just be careful flipping this jaw around, and be careful of any ticks that might be still crawling off here. And you can see how this bottom of the jaw is all exposed now, and you can just follow along the bottom of the jaw just like that. And then once you have that so far underneath the bottom of the jaw, you can come back up here and you can start working at cutting the hair and skin away from the base of the horns. As you guys can see here, why I was saying about watching out for ticks on these deer heads and hides is this little bugger here. If you guys can see that tick there somehow got on my pants and bit me in my stomach. And I found the best way to kill these farting ticks is to burn them with a lighter. Just give them a good old shot with the lighter there. Dead as a doornail. To this day, I still don't know why God invented ticks. I guess that's for him to know and us to try to find out over the years. But I hate ticks. Can't stand them, and go figure, this guy had to bite me. Now, what I do to remove this plate, where you cut the head off from the neck, this plate bone here that you can see moving, I like to take it off. Now, probably you don't have to take it off. You could probably boil it with that on there, and that piece is just eventually going to fall off anyway once you put it in boiling water and start cooking it. But what I do is I come right in back of the very back of the skull where it starts to tuck underneath the skull, and I'll cut a line right underneath the back edge of the skull here, like this, and it'll start exposing that piece from where you cut the neck off. Once you're following along these back bones here, right along the skull plate, stick your knife up inside there and follow that, and this piece is just gonna keep pulling up. Fall along that little joint, and there your piece will just fall right off. Now this piece is the part of the neck when you cut it off, and this will be attached right to the back of the skull, which just discard that piece, and then you'll have your hole here, which is used to mount your European skull. Now the next thing I'll do is, you don't really have to do this, but I do it. Just makes it easier in the long run when you go to boil this skull, is I'll fall right along the bottom edge of the bottom jaw, and you'll see there's two little bones here on both sides, and I'll just cut and follow the edge of the bottom of the jaw and cut this big chunk of meat out here. You don't need that meat in there, and I'll take this whole chunk of meat and I'll discard this piece of meat, making it easier and less that you have to clean when you're boiling it. And now if you take this piece out and keep following this, your tongue will also be in here, which, see how the tongue just unfolds out? You just follow along on both sides, and it'll take that whole nasty tongue right out of there. Just keep following along here, and then once you get down so far to where the jaw comes back into the point of the nose, you can just cut this tongue off. And if there's a little piece left, you can go in and just pry the jaw apart a little bit. But I'm going to try to pull this tongue out in one full piece, just like that. Perfect. All that nasty stuff now is gone. You don't have to worry about it later. Now, if you guys want, you can come back in here and you can just follow along the eye socket here and take out your eye sockets. But I'm going to leave mine in, and they'll just come out once you boil them. Once you got all the skin and everything taken off that you want, you can also come back up here and clean right at the base of the horns as much as you can. That'll make it nice for later. And then all I do is I'll get 2 garbage bags. I'll stick this in a garbage bag, and then stick this guy in the freezer until I'm ready to boil it. Guys, I hope you like this little video that I did for you guys on how to skin out a deer head for a European mount. I always appreciate you guys for watching. Guys, smash that subscribe button down there, guys. Trying to reach 100 subscribers so I can do a 100 subscriber giveaway. I wish you guys the best of luck this hunting season. I hope you guys kill that monster that you've been dreaming of. You guys stay safe, stay epic.